in Charlotte. Identify as he, him, she, her, whatever you want. Just make sure it's something.
Welcome and thank you for joining us, number one.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Number two, why are you not too particular with the pronouns?
I feel like really gender is just a construct, and I feel like um, it's really scientifically, I feel like just a structure of who, what category you fit in. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you don't feel like you fit in either of those categories, you can go about your own way and make your own business. I feel like sometimes certain days I feel more masculine, sometimes I feel more feminine, and I feel like as long as you're addressing me as something in society, we usually say things like girl, chow, whatever it may be in slang that, a lot of times people get offended by that, but it's not really that serious ever in my world.
I love that because it seems as if you can't label you, you can't box you in type of vibe, right?
Right.
What do you do?
I'm a nail artist, so I started in the nail industry probably about 6 years ago, and I'm now my own independent nail artist, taking solo clients one on one, doing my own thing at the moment.
That's amazing. What got you into doing nails?
Actually, in the beginning, I had no plans on even doing nails. I went to vocational high school, so I was doing hair. That was like my thing because I grew up in a nail salon all my life. I was like, I'm not gonna be like my relatives, not gonna be falling into that stigma of you're Vietnamese, you have to go do nails. So I went ahead and was like, well, if I'm not gonna do nails and I want to do something in the beauty industry, let me go ahead and do hair. And as soon as I graduated, my parents were like, hey, we're moving to North Carolina. Like, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, cool. So when I did come down, I was like, at a beach town in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I was like, oh, I'm not finding New York Fashion Week hair around here. So let me just go ahead and do something that I can make some money off of real quick. And that was nails. And I fell into income at first. And then slowly, the more I got enthralled in it, I was like, oh, wait, this is actually something that I really, really find passionate. And I really want to figure out and find myself in.
Now that's deep, so we're gonna get to the depths of that. But you mentioned, did you say New York Fashion Week type of hairstyle?
Right.
So you've never thought about even playing small with whatever you were going to do. It was going to be
No.
larger scale.
Yeah, had to. I mean, I was not trying to break into, you know, the the bare minimum. I was trying to get into it where it was hot, where it was really gonna benefit me the most. Whether that be, the high end salons or somebody who knows really what they're doing with years and years of experience, whatever it may have been. But I was not about to do a bare minimum.
What gave you that outlook, to which I'd imagine kind of stems from your confidence as well? What gave you that outlook to shoot big, to aim for the bigger stuff?
I just feel like as when I was, I mean, I was fresh out of high school. You know what I mean? I feel like they always tell you when you're young, you're the best sponge. You soak up the best information. So if I was soaking up the bare minimum, I was slowing myself down to dumbing myself down to what my age bracket was asking of me versus I was thinking way ahead and I was like, I know I already have the skills and the confidence to move forward. So if I put myself at the standard of others who have been in the industry for years, I'm already jumping past all the experience that I may not even necessarily need to get all the way up to the top. It's all about how much information can you soak in and then how can you translate that into your work. So the more information you know, the better your work can be.
It sounds like you were very intentional and specific with the knowledge that you were soaking up, so to speak.
Absolutely.
What I was going to ask you was there were there any times of doubt or uncertainty throughout your process?
I mean, absolutely. A lot of times people view people who have been in the industry for years or good work as somebody who's completely confident in themselves, but we all have those moments where we wake up and we're like, wait a minute, is it me today? Do I not feel like doing it today? Do I not feel the best today? And honestly, at certain points, I definitely felt like, you know, is this for me? Am I on the right path? Am I really doing this for me? Am I good at what I do? And I had to just check myself and be like, no, 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 look around. Like when you hear people say, wow, or just even be astonished at the work that you do or where you're at, take that and continue to push yourself forward. And we're always gonna have those moments of doubt, but it's what you do in those doubtful moments of yourself that motivate you and push you forward.
I love that. Where are you from?
From Jersey. Yeah.
Okay. What did you start to do in your work and in your vision that set you apart from other people who were in your lane in the same industry? Because a lot of times I feel like we have to make our stamp or make our staple. Did you ever feel any of that? Did you figure out what that signature thing was from you? Or has it just been really, like you just mentioned, applying the knowledge that you're taking in and just figuring it out as you go?
Honestly, I feel like that's a moment that I've had with myself a lot in my industry and in where I am today. A lot of times when you see people, you expect them to be somewhere and you expect them to have the knowledge that they have right then and there. But in all reality, I'm still every day figuring out exactly what it is that I bring to the table. But looking back on my career, I can definitely say that what brought me to the table and what brought people to me was the fact that I was a male in a female dominated industry, and that I also had charisma. I had some kind of charm that attracted me to them. And when they did sit in my chair, I just completely engulfed them in my world. And I was like, listen, it's fabulous over here. I'm educated. I can show you the depths of how far you can go with your beautification. And being confident in my work and in my abilities to be able to change people's lives within the beauty industry was just where I put myself forward to be able to have those connections with people and to make myself an individual, and I never put myself in a category of, I do this or I do this. It was always, I'm just me and I do everything, but it comes as a whole for me as a package. It's who I am.
Have you ever been concerned about being accepted by people? As in, did you ever change up a style? Did you change up some parts of you? Did you compromise anything? And some people don't like the word compromise, so they say sacrifice.
Right.
You sacrifice anything to, it sounds weird even asking that. Did you sacrifice anything to be who you are in today's time?
That's a great question. I feel like I, along the way, have definitely looked in the mirror and said, when somebody says like, oh, you have crooked teeth or something, and you're like, are my teeth crooked? And I have those moments where I'll take things that I may see other people criticize me on, or I might not fit into that group, and question myself for a minute, but I'll also check that off the list. So, oh, you have crooked teeth. Do I have crooked teeth? I know I don't have crooked teeth. Check, I have a beautiful smile. And you just keep going down the list, and it just solidifies who you are, and it also makes you just that more confident in your own individuality. So in those moments, I feel like I've never sacrificed anything for other people, to make other people happy, because at the end of the day, your own happiness is what brings you day and day and brings you through the day. Absolutely.
I love that response. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy?
What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? I don't know. Let me see. What makes me smile? A good cup of coffee. Honestly, a good cup of coffee in the morning. Some great music. A good vibes around. Good energy around people. My friends, family. The little things in life. Nothing that brings me joy can be bought, and things that can be bought necessarily can bring me joy, but they're not things that make me truly happy. I think the things that are around me every day and the things that continue to fuel me and support me are things that make me happy. And sometimes you may not see those things as happiness in the moment, but when you look back, you're like, no, that was really pure joy, content, love, and support. Absolutely.
Do you find yourself kind of providing a sense of therapy and relief to some of your clients and customers? Because just in having this conversation, you're very well-rounded, very sound, and just what I would consider your approach and philosophy to life in itself. Just your answer you just gave is a perfect breakdown, identifying what brings you joy. Things do bring you joy in the moment.
Right.
But as you also mentioned, there's nothing that you could buy that brings you happiness.
Right.
They're very fundamental things that whether you had the success or whatever, and I like to think that we're all on the way to success, right? And so I have no problem identifying that with you. I mean, look how you're dressed. So, and did you get dressed for this show, or is this generally how you?
It was a little different this morning, but I tweaked it. I put on some leather pants, and I was like, I need to be a little professional.
I mean, you are one of the flyest guys I know, hands down.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Back to my question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find yourself being a sense of relief or providing therapy to your clients?
Absolutely. I feel like when you sit down one-on-one with a person and we sit there for hours with each other, there's only so much of the surface that you know, I'm a Cancer, so you know I'm a crab. So, you know, I view my life as the crab shell. So there's only so much time that you can spend polishing the outside of a crab with a client. You know what I mean? Like hey, how is your day going? How the kids going? You know,
Right.
da, da, da. And then we get into like the nitty gritty. We get into the inside of the crab, inside the shell. What's going on inside? You know, they'll be like, you know what? Speaking of the kids, I had this thing going on with the kids, with my husband, with me. I feel like da da da. And at some point, it's just them being able to have a conversation, but at the same time, nobody has a conversation about vulnerable things just to hear a or like a head nod. In reality, they really sometimes want either validation or they want some type of guidance. And when you're sitting there with somebody, you know, hand in hand, face to face for minutes, hours, on days, you know, you really want to make sure that you're making your client and you know, the person in front of you just comfortable and reassuring, hey, we're both two humans, we're both going through different experiences, but, you know, I'm here sometimes as your nail tech. Yes, I can give you nail tech advice, nail advice, all that stuff, but I can also give you advice on, you know, what I've gone through or what I may feel maybe best for you or what I've done that is the best for me. So, you know, every human wants to have a human companion and a human companionship amongst each other. So, definitely.
To me, I was just about to ask you to show me the nails, and that was just the perfect show of it. Reason being, I've had a couple of conversations with women, and a lot of them, I'll say their favorite nail tech, they kind of give creative autonomy. Do most of your clients give you creative autonomy?
Yes, there's some control restraints, but I mean, I would say probably about like 90% of my clients are like, you know, just do whatever you want to do. And I understand the control because, you know, they're your nails, you're paying for them, you want to make sure that they look a certain way, certain occasions, but also at certain times, my clients have calmed me long enough or they've seen my work, you know, on the internet or on Instagram or whatever it may be, enough to know, hey, this guy really like knows what he's doing. Let me just go ahead and trust him for a second and give him that level to be able to be creative or do something new that he never got to do before. So yeah.
That sounds like a lot of pressure sometimes, but the way you just answered seemed as if you prefer creative autonomy.
I do, honestly. I like to be able to have control a little bit, especially with, you know, as an artist, you know, I'm an artist, I'm sensitive about my shit, you know, it is what it is, but, you know, when it comes down to control, sometimes I feel like my artistic abilities get shut down a little bit, and I kind of get creative block when I'm having certain restraints on me. When I can have my own full control and my own full range of what's going to be done, I thrive the best. I just allow my brain to just puke on nails, and it just ends up as a whole masterpiece of art.
What inspires your creativity in those moments?
In those moments, everything. The one thing that inspires me the most is personality. You know, a lot of times when I'm feeling creative block or I'm feeling, you know, some form of, you know, blockage when it comes down to the art, I think about things like Instagram or other people's nails or artwork, but I've learned that all those things never work. All those things end up just further clogging your brain because they just add more pressure to the dam that's already like of your mind. So what I've learned is to break down the simple things. Just know who your client is. You know what I mean? Like if your client is a 9-to-5 Wall Street, you know, journalist, you're not gonna give her, you know, nightclub nails, you know. And if your client is, you know, in the nightclub scene and she's an it girl, she's an Instagram model, she's an influencer, you're not gonna give her, you know, one color. You're just not. You know what I mean? So learning your client's personality and then fueling your own artistic passion behind it really allows your client to be happy, but also your art and your client to come together as one to become a masterpiece and an individual masterpiece.
Have nails always been a sense of art, like people getting their nails done? Has it always been a sense of art, or has it kind of changed and evolved over the years with, I don't know, maybe social media or just people learning to express their personalities even more?
I want to say that nails has been a form of expression. I think, within the last 20 to 30 years, 40 years even maybe. I mean, we're coming up on a lot of different years. We're 2023. In the 80s, nails was a different thing. 90s was a different thing. Nails was really booming in the 90s. 2000s was crazy, But I feel like in the beginning of it, nails was an expression. It was I'm a long nail, I'm a short nail. I'm an oval nail, or I'm a stiletto nail, I'm a square nail, I'm a bold nail, you know what I mean? And then slowly, as expression was tackled, then it became art culture. Then it was, let's put money in nails, let's paint our nails bright red, and just like certain things became art expressions and became individuality through expression, through art. And I feel like as, technology behind nails, science of nails has developed, I feel like we've been able to accomplish more and have, advanced technology to be able to do different things, I want to say maybe 20 years ago, you didn't think about having Pikachu and Jigglypuff on your nails. But nowadays, you can have each Pokemon on 10, you got 10 Pokemons on your nails if you want to. You know what I mean? Because we have the technology and, the art skills to do it nowadays. Absolutely.
Hypothetical, of course, and maybe even realistic, because I mean, I can tell you're well studied as far as the progression and evolution of nails, which I respect, because to me, you have to know the history in order to know where you're at and where you're going.
Absolutely.
Where do you see nails in the next 10, 20 years?
Where do I see nails in the next 10, 20 years? Honestly, I see nails as a changing evolution. I feel like a lot of times throughout the past, it's been, nails have always been on the back burner. Nails have always been, just a thing. If you get them done, you get them done. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. But now I feel like it's becoming a critical essential to be able to express yourself through nails. Within the next few years, I feel like nails are definitely going to become something where, everybody has their own personality and their own category. And you're almost seeing it nowadays as well. Before there was genres like modern, classic, and then romantic or elegant nails, you know what I mean? Now they're changing into like cartoon, anime, goth, bright, all these different categories. And there's different elitists and elite artists of different categories. So the evolution of nails is just absolutely crazy. And I feel like in 10, 20 years, I'm going to see things on nails that I've never even thought to put on nails. Like the other day I saw what somebody did, like a garden moss look with like moss and butterflies, and like I was like, how did you? Okay, I digress. Like it's just stunning.
I mean, nails are 3D now.
Nails are 3D. Nails are coming at you. There's water nails. There's aquariums. Like, what's going on? How did my thing is like, I always want to like look around in my community and be like, what made you do that? You know what I mean? And like each artist has a different feel, and I think that's what makes nails so different, but so underrated. Is because everybody's talking about the conversation of, I wish nails were $20, but the evolution of nails nowadays, like it's literally art through an artist on your hands. You're a walking canvas. It's 10 mini little canvases on your hands. And with hair, you can only go so far. With skin, makeup, you can only go so far. You can go far with makeup. That's probably the next thing. But nails is crazy. You can do anything with nails. And that's why I think it is such a evolutionary and revolutionary topic in the beauty industry. You can do anything with it. You can carry any message you want with it.
Do you see yourself in the nail industry long term? Because I feel as if you have a variety of ventures, to get into. You mentioned hair early on, so
Right.
Do you see yourself doing nails for quite a while?
I always see myself as, when I envision the future, I definitely see myself in the industry always. I feel like I'd never be able to escape the industry. I was born into the industry. I'm probably going to die in the industry. But, I feel like nowadays there's so many different avenues and different streets that you can take within the industry, that it's not necessarily just being like, hey, you have to do nails for the rest of your life. Because I mean, at some point, obviously my hands are going to give out, my eyesight's not going to be the best, so I'm going to have to take a step back from the chair. But I always see myself in the industry. Absolutely. I see myself in the beauty industry, involved with 2 feet planted flat on the on the forefront. You know what I mean? Just being able to be in the industry, taking it forward, and really revolutionizing it as much as I can, while still maintaining the integrity of the beauty industry. Absolutely.
I love that affirmation for yourself. I have literally watched and just learned from female friends just how intricate nails have become. I mean, every 2 weeks. Before, not that I knew per se, but back in middle school, I don't think that they were selling like, and I don't know all the jargon and language, but they weren't selling nails in stores for you to take and
Right.
design yourself and do X, Y. And now, just like they have lashes and weaves all along the store, there's nails right there, right? Long, short, all the different styles that you mentioned. So that
Yep.
it's been incredible to watch it grow. And for me, I just have an affinity and a fascination for things that people draw to. And no matter where you go, having done some work in the entertainment industry, big deal.
Yeah.
How do you stay ahead of the game, stay ahead of the curve? Or have you kind of already identified your own lane to where your clients, the markets that you tap into, they're just kind of magnetized to Hirsch and what he's about to do next anyway?
Yeah, I feel as though, a lot of times I will push myself to be able to, because like I said before, I'm a very well-rounded artist. So a lot of times I want to be able to tackle every style that I've seen on Instagram. But in reality, I know I'm only one person, and I know that there's only so much time to be able to perfect everything in the world. But a lot of times I see myself, you know, just really sitting down with myself and my client and what we've created so far and just letting it flow. And if it's a trendsetter, it's a trendsetter. If it's something that I'll do once, I'll perfect it, and I'll learn it, and maybe it's gonna glow up in 10 years, at least I did it. You know what I mean? But I'm never looking to necessarily start the trend. I'm just doing me. And if the trend is me, I love it. You know what I mean? There have been plenty of times where during quarantine, the very first experience I ever had where I even went viral was, I had long nails, they were nude, and they had clouds and stars. I was sitting at home in quarantine for the first month, just sitting there, just like, well, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, my nails need to be done. So why don't I perfect my nails? I started doing these long nude nails. I put some clouds on it, I put some stars on it, and I just put a bunch of like rainbow pigment powders all over them, and they're all different colors, and they're gradient from pink to purple. And I just put my hand like this over my balcony in my apartment complex, took a little picture in the sunlight, and posted on Instagram. I didn't watermark it or anything. When I tell you for all of quarantine, I saw those nails everywhere I went. Websites, products that I've been using that I, started in the industry using, posting my work. And I was like, y'all ain't gotta give me no credit. I was like, I didn't watermark at the time. So I never got the credit that I needed from it. But that was the first moment where I was like, oh, baby, like, if you just do you and not worry about what's behind you, what's next to you, what's in front of you, you will become you, and they will love you for you. But if you start looking at other people and what they're doing and the trends and stuff, that's when you're gonna swallow yourself down into, the fans and just being somebody who's appreciating art and not necessarily creating art. I wanna create art. So by doing my own thing, really just allowing my art to flow from my head to my nails allows me to be my own trend and allows me to have my own avenue as well.
That's so solid. Yeah, there's no need to break down anything you just said. I mean, that's gems right there. And I think that's genuine and authentic, right? Those are two things you don't have to practice doing being yourself.
Right.
And that's what makes it simple. I think simplifying things is where we need to be as a society. And so I love that.
Absolutely.
Do you have a certain clientele that you accept and then also people who you just don't work with at all? Or how do you kind of select your clients?
Honestly, they say like check your vibes at the door.
Right.
So I don't think a lot of people have really understood this, but in the nail industry, the reason why we are so overworked and we feel like we're so aggressive with who we're selecting as our clients, and we get such a bad rep for it, is because of the fact that with hair, you're allowed to stand behind somebody and touch their head and not necessarily have to deal with any kind of energy transfer. You know what I mean? When it comes down to an esthetician, they're touching their face, massaging their body, but you're not necessarily transferring any kind of energy. But with nails, if you really think about it, I'm sitting here for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and we're holding each other's hands. Like, and whatever you're saying out of your mouth is going out of your body into your hand and going through me, and I'm receiving it. And whatever I'm doing is the same thing. So for me, how I select my clients is always through that transfer of energy. That sounds like an Erykah Badu moment. But through that energy transfer really is where I'm like, okay, you're for me or you're not for me. So if I feel like I can sit here with you every 3 to 4 weeks for 2 hours and we can transfer the energy every time and I'm happy with it and you're happy with it, let's do it. But if I feel some kind of disconnect or I feel like this isn't it or, you know, the energy is bad, I don't put myself or you through that. I don't want you to. I want this to be a really good experience for everyone. And not everyone is for everyone. Everybody has their own individual path to go down and different individual relationships to meet. So that's how I select my clients. Now, you know, I've come a long way to understand that. You know, I used to just accept anybody for who they was. You need your nails done? Come on, table 4, let's go, you know? But now it's like, no. Like, I'm in my own little room. It's just me and you. It's not a bunch of other people that I can get distracted by. It's just me and you, and I want our energy to be good so that our relationship can be good. And what I'm doing requires a good transfer of energy. You know, I'm doing art. I need it to flow. And when it can't flow because you're just a negative person or we bump heads, it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna be a beneficial relationship for either of us. So yeah.
I love the reference to energy. When did you start to read, interpret, feel said energy and understand what it was? And obviously, along the process, you get to figure out and feel out, we're not feeling that.
Yeah. I used to have a client who remained anonymous. And the client would just always come in and we would start on a really, really positive note. It would just be, hey, how are you? And then at some point it just turned into this absolutely disheveling conversation where it was like, hey, this is going on at home. This is what I'm going through. And it just turned into this whole dump. And it was always at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, I was always like, after I was done, I'd be like, okay, bye. And I would sit there for like, you know when you're like done with work, you're ready to go home?
Absolutely.
No. I would sit there for like an extra 30 to 45 minutes to an hour, just numb, just like absolutely like almost disgusted with myself because I'm like, I just absorbed all that energy and I don't know what to do with it because I'm sitting in a room by myself. I can't just call somebody and dump on them. I can't just give that energy to somebody else. I have to deal with this. And I was like young at the time. So I was like, I don't know how to deal with this. At that very moment, I was like, no. This is where you have to draw the line and a boundary for yourself. What are you going to accept for yourself and your own happiness? And what are you not? And that was during the conversation of where, you know, the viral thing was going on where it was like, not all money is good money. You know what I mean? And it was becoming a big thing. Everyone was saying it, right? And it was a common household saying. At that moment, I was like, there's a reason why this is what you're going through and this is what has been said on the internet around you and about people around you. Not all money is good money. So now you have to check everybody at the door. Yes, you're bringing me income. Yes, you're bringing me, you know, nails, art to create, you know, a platform to excel in. But at what cost? Is it my mental health? Is it my heart? Is it my mental sanity? Is it the comfort? Is it the energy in the room? Do I even want to enter this room tomorrow when I'm done with this? Can I clean the energy enough in this room to be able to even come back and fully express my art and express who I am? I don't know. So now you have to set that boundary with yourself and with your clients and understand that, you know, you might not be for me because if you feel like you need to dump on me, I can't accept that kind of dump. Somebody else might be able to say, hey, dump, and I know what to do with it. You know what I mean? I'm experienced. I'm a dumpy. Like, do it, you know? But I'm not a dumpy. I'm like, I'm going to go home and like in a corner all day by myself. And they're going to be like, Hirsch, what's wrong? I'm going to be like, it's a bad day at work. And it was a great day. But those like 30 to 45 minutes just turned into like the worst time of my life. And it just changed my mood forever. So those were the moments where I was like, check the vibes. Check your vibes and check their vibes. and make sure it's working together cooperatively. Yeah.
I really appreciate that answer because I feel as an entrepreneur, anyone can relate with what you just mentioned, right?
Absolutely.
And yet, and still, and as much as it resonates and they'll relate, they're still forced to ask the same question. Which
Right.
side of that am I on? Am I being a dumpy? I love that. Am I being a dumpy?
Am I a dumper or dumpy?
Or am I being a dumper, right?
You know?
And there's nothing wrong with reciprocity, right?
Right.
However, that real question does come in: who am I serving, and how? In what ways is it serving me, right? Like you said, we all have to pay bills, and I feel like coming out of survival, so many people are going to draw to that. Hey, I have to pay my bills so quickly, right? How pivotal was it, and for how long did you feel some discomfort from the I got to pay my bills to no, I just can't accept that right now.
You know, I was probably about 4 years in the industry, but I was maybe amongst my like first or second, maybe like my first full year by myself. So within those moments, I think I feel like I really just had that moment to myself, and I said, hey, what are you going to accept? And I said, are you going to be able to sit here every day and do nails and just accept it? And then later on, when another client comes in and you have that bad energy again, and you take it out on them, are you going to keep messing up the rest of your income because you're accepting bad money? Are you, it's like cancer. Are you going to cut the cancer out right then and there? Or are you going to allow the cancer to spread and just eat everyone alive in its tracks? Because honestly, in the beauty industry and in a lot of industries, they require us humans to be robots. We need to be this mask, this, hey, how are you? We love you. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to you. But a lot of times nobody ever looks and says, hey, how are you doing? And lends a hand or lends an ear or lends a voice, So at that moment, I said, if I'm always going to be an ear, this ear has to be squeaky, squeaky clean. And it has to have a good, clean slate to it. It can't be full of blockage because I'm like dealing with what happened an hour ago. I have to be able to accept the person in front of me for who they are and what they are. This is their time. You book an appointment with me. It's not like you book an appointment with, just anybody. You book an appointment with me. So I have to be A1 correct. My skills are there. Yes. My skills might be disheveled because I'm just mentally not dealing with this properly. So I learned that if you allow yourself a clean, healthy workspace and you accept the energy around you for what it is, and you really allow yourself to create boundaries, accept good clients, accept good conversations, and feel good while doing that, everyone around you is going to flourish, your connections are going to flourish, and you don't have to worry about paying your bills because that energy and that good vibe might bring you the best customer service, and your client might say, Hirsch provides me the best customer service, and I'm going to refer 10 of my friends, and that's your lucky jackpot. You know what I mean? That's God looking down on you or whatever it may be, whatever you believe in. But if you continue to accept that one bad, cancerous act and keep allowing it to eat you up, you're going to block your blessings, and at some point, it's going to run you dry, and you're going to turn into a hermit, and you're going to sit back and be like, I hate my life. I don't want to do this. What else can I do? Because I don't want to do this. I'm not a people person because people have burnt you. You have to learn to really accept people for what they are. That was a word. People will burn you. You have to learn to keep that slate clean.
100%. 100%. You're dropping gems. Nothing that you're saying is foreign, but I love the originality of everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
And how you're saying it. You're relating it to your experiences, but I'm taking so much away, so I know the listeners will as well. Yeah. What's interesting is that we're still on the topic of nails, your entrepreneurial endeavor, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking life, though. And yet you were refining both of those. Is that what was happening, or was it one business first, then person, and how did that go?
I feel like I was dealing with life as life. I came into the industry young, so I was still dealing with life. Like, who am I? What am I? Am I a person? Am I a seashell? And what am I? I don't know who I am yet. I'm 18. Just literally I was literally like a month into 18, thrown into the industry. You know what I mean? And then they're like, hey, survive. So at that point, it was figure out who you are, but take it for what it is. You know what I mean? So I started to understand the industry and understand, being a nail tech. And then when COVID hit, it was, okay, baby, you can't just be a nail tech. You have to be a business owner. You have to go do your own thing. You have to go make your own bread and call your own shots. So in that very moment, I did not say, okay, let's sit down and have a whole conversation with ourselves and understand what entrepreneurship is so we know what to expect. No, they never give you a handbook about that. I don't care how many schools you go to. You know what I mean? Like, they will never give you an experience handbook. So each time I was rolling into the industry, I was learning, I was beating down life for a second, but building my business up for a second. And then business would get beat down for a second, and I'd be like, which one do I bring back up? Which one do I bring back to business or I bring back to life? And so those experiences that you have, it helps to mold you the more you're in business. That's why when I hear people say like 10 years, 25 years in business, you can say that like, you can just roll it off your tongue and think, oh, just 25 years. But for me, when I hear those things, that shows me that you've stuck around long enough that you understand a whole different playbook than most people. When you say 10, 25, 15 years in the industry, you've gone through the trials and tribulations. Like I said before, am I gonna start with the bare minimum and learn at the bare minimum and numb myself? Or am I gonna start all the way at the top? You know what I mean? And those people, they're at the top. They know everything. They know client relations. They know good energy versus bad energy, good money versus bad money. So at that moment, I really had to say, you have to learn life, you have to learn business. And as an entrepreneur, the sad part about it is there's no off switch. As much as they tell you, turn off your business phone, be on your personal life when you're out and about with your friends or your family, that's not how it works. And especially with social media, that's not how it works at all. When you go outside and if you walk out of your front door, you have to be your brand. You have to be your brand. So if you built Nails by Hirsch, when you walk out the door, you're not just walking to Walmart or driving to Walmart and saying, I'm gonna walk in with hoochie shorts, half a shirt on, and walk in and walk out. Because somebody in there is gonna see you, and they're gonna be like, you see Nails by Hirsch? He looked like he needed some spare change. Like, he looked crazy. Oh, I'm not spending my money there. He don't even know how to present himself. That's unprofessional. Every waking moment is business. So once you sign that deed, it's like signing your life away almost. And you have to accept it for what it is. You have to love it or you have to leave it. Once you say, hey, you're an entrepreneur, you have to say, okay, this is my life, and these are the new life rules that I have to abide by. Being professional when I walk outside, understanding what my image is, understanding, what image I want people to understand and what vision of me I want people to see. So if you want people to see your worst self, go right ahead. Bad business can flop right then and there. But if you want to thrive in the industry and you want to thrive at being the best you and represent yourself the best, you have to represent yourself at A1. Even if you feel like Z0, you still have to really give A1. You have to give the top of the top. It is what it is. You signed that deed, baby. Ain't no going back. Nope.
Number one, you said there isn't a handbook that they can give you in school. You're 100% correct. This conversation, this is a handbook for you.
This is the handbook.
Because these are things that people don't. These are the things that, if I can be frank about it, and this is very subjective, obviously, from my vantage point, people may even be afraid to say that, right? Yeah. Because they want there to be an imaginary turnoff where I can humanize now. Yeah. And what you're saying is, there isn't a time that you can't humanize because this is the life that you've created around your business, but this is the representation thereof.
I love the idea. I love the idea of being able to turn it off because it sounds perfect in reality. And when I tell you I've done it. And I can tell you from my own personal experience what the result of it is. It's almost like you're playing, like you're in a race and you're racing next to somebody and somebody next to you is like, hey, take a second to breathe and you'll be able to breathe better so you can run faster. And you're like, yeah, I'm kind of out of breath. Let me take a moment to breathe. Next thing you know, they're running way past you and you can't even catch up to them at that point. Like in business, when you turn your phone off, you're turning money off immediately. You're turning social media off. You're not logging into social media. You're not posting because it's a Sunday. Oh, it's Labor Day. Oh, it's Memorial Day. Oh, I'm outside with my friends. I want to boat. Oh, great. Well, when you're outside on your friends with your boat, you can go make that money and spend that money, but wait for it to come back because it's not coming back right now. You're playing catch up right now. All that time that you're wasting, somebody could have been calling you with an emergency. Hey, I need this. When can I get an appointment? I need to see you soon. Another business opportunity. You know, I'm not checking my emails because I'm in Dubai. Okay, go be in Dubai then. Okay, when you come back, you have to play some serious catch up. So that game on, you know, when they tell you like influencer and entrepreneur social media, they tell you, hey, turn your phone off, you know, make sure your clients understand 9 to 5, after 5, you don't pick, baby. Let me tell you something. I have sat on the phone with a client till like 1 in the morning having conversations with them about what their needs are, what they feel like, how we can move forward in the business, how we feel like our relationship can move or grow, or what kind of, you know, negative feedback they may have. But that has only benefited my business. If I didn't have those conversations because it's past 5 o'clock, I would have missed out on so much opportunity, and I might not have been where I am. So when people tell you on Instagram and on, you know, social media that, hey, there's an off button, there's never an off button, ever. There is, if you want there to be. Just know it might not turn on again.
I love the real there.
Yeah.
What do you say to those, and I love that we've already addressed this, by the way, as far as not being so concerned about outside perception.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to those who would look at that mindset mentality and say that's a lot of vanity or self-absorption?
Take it for your own. Take it as a grain of salt. Take it for what it is. Deal with it. Or I would say, do it yourself, and you can come back and tell me. For me, what I've learned is that it doesn't work like that. You know, you have to really be able to give it your all, because if you want it all that to come from it, you have to give it your all. You can't give it 50%. You can't give it 25%. You can't give it a 9 to 5. You can't restrict it. When there's restrictions on your money is restricted, exactly what it is. Your opportunities are restricted. Your wealth is restricted. Your communications amongst the people, that your network is restricted. If you want to give it your all, you have to give it your all. If you're hungry for it, you have to eat all that you can, you know? But if somebody says, that's vanity, that's selfish, you're self-absorbed, or whatever it is, you go do it. And if you can do that, I applaud you. But for me, and people around me that I understand, I'll be sitting at dinners with clients, and they'll be like, hold on, blah, 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 with coworkers. And they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, it was a client. I'll be like, you good? Take your time. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of moments where I've been on vacation with other entrepreneurs, and we're like, girl, they emailing us. I was just in Atlanta this weekend to go see Beyonce. I'm answering DMs on Instagram at the Beyonce concert, dressed down, waiting for the queen to come on stage. That's on a Monday. I could have said, you know what? The queen is in town. No, I'm not going to answer this. How many business opportunities would I have missed out on? You know what I mean? How many opportunities could I have absolutely neglected? And the client felt neglected. And them say, hey, he doesn't care about me or my money, push it on forward. Let me push it somewhere else. And let me tell all my friends to keep pushing it too. Mm-hmm.
We're here for the real conversation, and this has been nothing short of it. Do you feel as if there's anything I haven't asked you, or anything that you desire to share?
I feel like we've gone through a lot of really, really good topics. I feel like I've touched on a lot of things that, you know, I've had conversations with myself, and I haven't necessarily been able to like speak it in a way that really like is understandable, and, you know, communicate it with somebody else who really understands it. So I definitely feel like we've touched a lot of topics today, and we've hit a lot of really good points, a lot of really good raw points, and really being able to break down entrepreneurship, being able to break down, you know, being young in the industry, being who you are, absolutely. And I feel like, you know, in reality, when it comes down to it, being who you are is the lesson that I've learned. Do I know who I am to an absolute whole yet? No. You know, does anybody know who they are? No. And if you say you do, congratulations. You're either faking it or you really have spent a lot of time on that. I applaud you. But, you know, I think as young entrepreneurs, you have to meet yourself where you are. And you have to know that, you know, I might know 75% of myself. I'm trying to discover that 25% of myself that I don't necessarily know yet. But while I do that, let me allow myself to meet myself where I am and give myself grace. You know, my friend always said, where is grace needed? You put all these people in your life, and shout out to her. She knows who she is. And, you know, she says, oh, you put all these people in your life. You put, you know, Law in your life. You put Hirsch in your life. You put Jeremy in your life. You put all these people in your life. Where do you put Grace? That girl Grace, where do you put her? Make her a person. Where is Grace? You know what I mean? So when you give yourself grace and you put grace at the forefront right next to you, you allow yourself so much relief and so much opportunity, because you're giving yourself this exhale. You're giving yourself this energy, this output of this energy that you might have been built up inside of you, you know. And when you give yourself grace and you say, hey, I'm human, I don't know myself, hey, I'm young, I need to learn, I'm still soaking it up, I'm still inexperienced, that's grace. You know, we're not perfect, we're human. So, yeah, where's grace needed? Absolutely.
Thank you for your knowledge, your perspective, and your experience.
Absolutely.
I really look forward to our next conversation.
Absolutely. I look forward.
Real quick, please let the people know where they can find you.
Instagram at Nails by Hirsch. You can find me there. I have a website, nailsbyhirsch.com. Check me out.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.